Hello audience. In this video we're going to start painting the Falcon. Now I personally am not going to paint this, so this isn't going to be an instruction video on how to paint your car. I know nothing about automotive paint, so naturally I have no business telling you about it. What I am going to do is take everything apart and finish the rough bodywork, particularly taking the doors apart and hammering out some really bad dents on the quarter panels. Now, we're only going to paint the outside of the car for now, minus the roof. The roof was already painted a while ago and it still looks good, so for now I'm going to leave that. The interior paint, like the dash, all this stuff, it's going to get done eventually, but now's not the time. The engine bay, that needs to be painted, but that requires taking everything out of that, so that's not in the program right now either. The trunk, the paint is okay inside there. I'm going to try to save it, but probably going to end up repainting that too. So anyway, let's get started. So if you're wondering what color we chose and why, well, there's a funny story behind it. So this car was originally laurel green, code E, and I wanted to repaint it the original color. So a while ago when I started painting it, we were using this color here, and we ordered it by code. So this was a 1961 Ford Code E paint, which is nothing even close to the original color. It's got a lot more yellow in it, doesn't have any blue. So what I'm guessing this is Lincoln also had a green in 1961 that was Code E. It's called Saxon green, and I'm guessing that's what this is, but I could be wrong. So I already bought the paint, so I was trying to like it and make do with it, but problem is it doesn't match the blue-green interior that at the time I thought I was going to save, or the trunk. It's noticeably different. So the decision was made to go for more of the original color. The next idea was to just match it to the original paint. So I found part of the door jamb that had been out of the sunlight and the atmosphere and cleaned it up and matched it to that and ended up with this color that's on the door jambs right now. Now what I didn't realize at the time was what I was matching it to was not the original paint. It was a good thorough repaint that this thing had a while ago, and I discovered that when I started prepping the door jambs and sanding them down. This car has been repainted at least once, so this is a near perfect match of the repaint that was on it. And the end result is I have no idea what to call this color, and it's probably nothing even close to the original, but I already bought it, so I'm just going to use it. If I don't like it, I'm going to learn to like it. Look what I found behind the door panel. The original build sheet. That's pretty cool. Now I took the stop off so I could roll the window further down so I can get these moldings out. And these actually, originally they had felt on them to go against the window. I'm not entirely sure how to properly remove these, but I just pry them out really carefully. I didn't plan on removing the data plate, but there was not much holding it on. These rivets were not peened over very much, so it was easy to pry them out without destroying them. So I'll just tap it back in after it's painted. Now looking at the inside of the door around the jambs, so you can see there's noticeably no problems whatsoever. There's no rust on the inside. A little bit of surface rust here and there, but no dents, no serious damage at all. It just needs to be sanded and painted. Now, looking at it from the outside, you can see there's also nothing wrong with it. A little bit of surface rust. I looked over it for little dents or anything, and I can't find anything. There's two different sets of holes for the side view mirror, so I have to decide which ones to save. Now the moldings that go over the window frame, those are like crimped on from the factory, and they're not made to be removed and installed multiple times, so there's no way I can remove it without damaging them. So, and there's nothing wrong with them anyway, so I'm just going to leave them. The door jambs, as you can see, are being painted. This is the left side, which is currently in primer. And I think there was a small dent around here somewhere, and that was the only damage anywhere on these. It's all pretty nice. The jambs on the right side have already been painted, as you can see. Also no real damage anywhere. This had to be patched. This was a hole for the antenna that somebody put in with probably a pickaxe. It was really rough, and it was leaking water in really bad. So, not the cleanest fix, but it's not noticeable. It'll hold, and that's all that matters. There's a bunch of parts that need to be cleaned up, like this here is a door latch and a door striker. Now there's nothing that appears to be wrong with them, they're just really dirty, so I'm going to clean them off and see how good I can make them look. And they look pretty good. Most of the plating on the latch is still there, so that's good. The striker cleaned up pretty good too. It's worth putting some attention on this stuff because once the door jambs have been painted, these are really going to stick out if they look bad. And now the worst of the bodywork and the last of it, the quarter panels. Now this is the right side. Now the worst part is this part right here. This has been pushed back a little bit, and as you can see it's wrinkled in here. I'm going to try to hammer that out from the inside and straighten it. I probably won't be able to get it like that. I may have to cut some of this out and then straighten it, then make a patch panel. I'm hoping I won't, but it's not the worst thing ever if I have to. It's got a scrape across here, some weird dent here, I don't know what did that, and a few door dings here and there. Small one up here. But pretty straight overall, as you can see. So, not too bad. The left side is pretty straight. It had a big dent right here, but I hammered that out. It needs to be finished off. And the taillight was pushed in over here. I hammered that out, but it's still, the corner is still pretty round. It should be sharper than that, so I'll work on that a little. And it's got like a gash on the side like the other side, but it's not as much. Also pretty straight. So, let's get to it. Something I just noticed. The exhaust clamp on this side is completely broken, and the one back there doesn't look too healthy, so that's something I need to fix in the near future. It's another possible rattle that it has. Now I gotta find a place to put all this junk in the meantime. Ah, the jack. Save this. Part of the heater. It's the brake light off the Classic. Save that because I figured I might put it on the package tray. I just bought one of these a couple of days ago. Didn't know I had that one. It's like a vacuum line. Extra license light. And it's better. It's back to its original shape anyway. And I did a little bit to these. I got these dents a little more shallow. This one I beat on it a little from the inside and filed it really good. The other side, I sharpened the corner a little more just by tapping on it and worked on that a little bit, so they're both pretty good. I have one good taillight assembly and it fits both of them decent, and it points straight back. It's not leaning over to one side or up or down. So it's time for filler and probably a little more fine tuning with the hammer. The other thing I'm going to work on with this is this seam right here where the panels were welded together. It's kind of a little bit lumpy right here, not very smooth, which is the way it was when it was new. They didn't try too hard to make these perfect. They just soldered over it and ground it smooth. So it's kind of high right here where the seam is and kind of low over here. A little bit of a low spot here, same thing on the other side. So we're going to go over that and get that smoothed out. Now the seam here and here, and another seam here, these were there from the factory. They were never filled over, so we're going to keep those as is. And that's been done. Now the quarter panel's been primered. Needs a little touching up here and there, but pretty much ready to paint. And here's the front fenders, which, as you can see, they've already been painted. We just need to sand them down and repaint. Now, I did the bodywork on these a while ago, so They were pretty straight to start with. Now, both of these had some rust damage down at the bottom. Very little. It was fairly easy to patch. This one had a hole drilled for an antenna that was in the wrong place, so I put a patch panel in that. The front of it up here was stretched out, so it's been heat shrunk in a few places, and had some extra molding holes in it that I filled in, but not too bad. This one is not as bad. As you can see, the rust damage, and it's been painted over. Also extra molding holes. Why someone drilled all these extra holes, I have no idea. Another thing I want to point out is these filler panels up front. As you can see, there's a bunch of small pieces that have been spot welded, and the seams were never dressed off, and the welds never were. That's the way it came new, so that's the way we're going to leave it, just like that. Well, we've gone as far as we can for now, so it's time to send it out to get painted, and then we'll make another video when it comes back on putting it together and how it looks. Another interesting thing is it is now November of 2020, and you know what that means? It means this car is officially 60 years old. Yeah, that means pretty much nothing, but anyway, thank you for watching. Like, dislike, subscribe, comment, whatever, and I'll see you in the next video.